Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Greenwood.
Hello, RNC. Is there any doubt who's going to be the next president of the United States? Prayer works. This nation based on faith. Prayer works. Because he was sure, as Donald Trump turned his head just slightly, that the bullet missed him just enough to save his life to be the next president of the United States. We have believed for so long that God will make some changes in this country, and he's about to make a change in the current administration and send them home. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. Tonight we make the decision on what's right for America. More prosperity, less gas prices, less food prices, help for our veterans, and God bless our military wherever they are in these United States and abroad. There would be no wars.
Ladies and gentlemen,
President Trump
please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA. We are here tonight with one purpose, and that is to elect Donald J. Trump as the next president of the United States. He is here tonight to show his courage, his defiance against somebody who tried to kill him. You will not take this man down. He has the courage, the strength, and he will be the next president of the United States. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea. Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th President of the United States and soon to be the 47th President of the United States, please welcome Donald J. Trump. Today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up
Damn right, God bless the USA. And nobody else. God, I gotta get this down packed. There you go. DEI hire. Donald Trump. DEI hire. Donald Trump. Fucking midget. Anyway. Good afternoon. Welcome to an episode of the Ministry of Truth. I'm your number one host on this show. Hello, daughter. Thank you. And as you notice, the RNC Day 2 is going to start. RSBN has already started their live coverage, but I don't know how long before the next segment shows up. And Matt's still live? No, he's not. I think I've had this RSBN page up for a while. Oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Hey guys, it doesn't start for another 3 hours. Shit. Oh, anyway. Well, since we got 3 hours, let's go over some of the stuff that happened yesterday at the RNC. So this lady, Amber Rose, I really didn't know who she was up until, about a month or two ago. Or that I really just didn't care. But she actually came out and spoke at the RNC yesterday in a very pro-Trump way. Now, I think, is NTF still on? I thought she rage quit. Nope, she's still on. Oh, yeah, that's... We're not doing that. Nope. No. So anyway, like I said, Amber Rose was speaking last night, and I was watching stuff this morning while I was looking through J.D. Vance's voting record, which I'm impressed with so far. Considering he's a freshman senator, I didn't know that until this morning. Kind of thought he's been around for at least 1 or 2 sessions, but nope, it's his first term. But like I said, Amber Rose spoke yesterday, and there's a lot of lefties, to include not just lefties, but conservatives such as Matt Walsh, who don't think she should have been given a platform or she shouldn't be at the RNC representing the people. When in actuality, she's probably one of the better people to have. She's got like 23 million followers on Instagram or TikTok, and she's an influencer in the hip hop industry. So people might listen to her. But both left side and right side are coming out saying, oh, well, what she's done in the past, this and that. Man, if you can never forget about somebody's past, certain things you can not forget about. But when somebody has their own political opinion, why are you going to go and bash them for it? Understand if maybe she was a liberal, I'd probably bash her for saying she's stupid. But other than that, that's about as far as I'll go at bashing liberals. They're stupid, retarded, and they should have asylums for a good majority of them. The blue-haired ones, especially the blue and purple and green-haired ones. But anyway, let's get to the Amber Rose speech because, like I said, I didn't go on live last night. I think I was too busy watching somebody else's shit. But anyway, let's get into her speech and we'll see what we have to think about this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Greenwood.
Wait, is this the same one? It is. Fucking slack.
Please welcome Amber Rose from South Philadelphia.
Yeah, they don't know how to react to her.
Hello, my name is Amber Rose.
Oh,
I'm a model and entrepreneur. Thank you. But most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children, keeping them safe, and giving them an opportunity for a better life. That's something that unites all American parents, whether we're Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, or liberals. We all want a better country for our children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician, and I don't want to be. But I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse, and I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump.
They were attacking her.
People
She
have
said
to
she
do
did
their
her
research.
And they were like, well, what research did she do?
I watched all the rallies.
I'm like, bro, you're gonna attack somebody for doing their own work? I mean, listen to what she's got to say at least, and then attack her.
And I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. So I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too.
Put a fucking wig on her, we're good. I mean, it's kind of like fucking a
Love you too.
multiracial.
I never felt more free and more love for my country than I do now. I want to thank my father, who's in the audience tonight, for opening my eyes. He served over 20 years in the U.S. military. Thank you for your service, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. When I met the president and Melania for the first time, he was kind and generous and funny as hell. Very funny. The First Lady was gracious and smart with a smile that will brighten up any room. If you're watching this tonight, you know our country is in trouble. Just like me. When you go to the store and buy food for your family, you're shocked. When you fill up your gas tank, you're pissed. I know I am.
Yo, I think this weed just tried to kill me.
And when you turn on the news, you are just exhausted. Inflation is out of control. And you know in your heart it was not like this under Donald Trump. My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president.
Laura, my love, you're back home. Yeti. Oh, Yeti. And B-Rap. Yeah!
We were safer, wealthier, and stronger. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to put money back in our pockets and good food on our kids' plates. Yes.
Like GMO-free food?
Or, as Trump would say, it's a vote to make America great again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So I'm gonna get a video. It's from another creator, but I don't feel like looking for some of these news segments because, well, to me they don't really affect me. but they're gonna go over how they feel about Amber Rose and her speech
Wow.
yesterday.
We got to do a
And it's
follow-up
weird
video
because
to
she's
last
a
night's video where Amber Rose spoke at the RNC convention.
minority.
We didn't know that it was going to
Yeah,
spark the amount of
well, that
backlash
is
that it
catchy.
did. We know about Matt Walsh's response. He's since then doubled down on that, and we're going to dive into that. But yeah, right now we have somebody who's been a Democrat for nearly 50 years. She was crying over watching the national convention and particularly mentioning Amber Rose's speech being inspiring. And we're going to dive into why the backlash and all that is happening to Amber Rose and, my thoughts on that. Let's go ahead and check this out.
6 jobs for 3 people just to survive in Biden's economy.
Why am I crying over the Republican National Convention? Like, what the frick is going on?
It's upsetting. It's upsetting to see
this world that we're living in right now.
To help immigrants
Hold on,
who came
let me
here
pause this.
illegally while
Woo, this world that we're living in right now feels like upside down land. I've been a Democrat for nearly 50 years.
God damn.
Why am I crying over the Republican National Convention? Like, Amber Rose did a beautiful job. Oh, she did a beautiful job. I'm so proud of her. And then all the diversity and just, I think I'm crying because it's cognitive dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance.
It took you 50 years to get off
What
the
is going
plantation.
on? I've been told my whole life Republicans are just all, white and racist men and all of this. I don't think I've probably ever watched a Republican National Convention. Let's start there. You don't know unless you go see for yourself and stop listening to what people tell you.
It's one thing to
It's
hear
just
it.
so
one thing to see it.
beautiful. Just the patriotism, the coming together. I'm telling you, if you on the outside and you think MAGA is this horrible thing, I don't know what to tell you besides you have to see for yourself. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The coming together of America saying no more, no longer. We're not going to do this. We're not going to divide ourselves. We are red, white, and blue. It's beautiful. Okay, I got to finish watching.
Which brings me back to Matt Walsh's
Right, Missy?
response tweet, which was the RNC
Unfortunately,
gives a primetime speaking slot to a
that's the way a
pro-abortion
lot of
feminist and self
young people, well, actually, I can't say old or young, but you got to remember, she grew up in a time where what your parents told you was gold. You were told when to talk, how to talk, and what to think. I think Gen X started growing away from that, and that's pretty much where we are now, as we forgot to instill discipline in our children. Well, I know I haven't, but a lot of parents forgot to instill discipline, which led to the decline in, what's the word I'm looking for? Respect and discipline. Thanks, Envy Rap. But let's continue with this. I don't know, maybe because I think growing up, I really didn't know where I was politically. I just know that I liked freedom. And the older and older I got, I don't know. The first president I actually voted for, I actually didn't get elected. It was Rand Paul. So that's kind of weird. I was happy when George Bush got elected the first time because, well, shit, I was just in the army a year and I didn't know 9/11 was going to happen. And then, I got brainwashed. What can I say? Patriotism blinded me. Now patriotism guides me because I know the truth.
cocaine slut with a face tattoo whose only claim to fame is having intercourse with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized by this person. And we just literally heard a voter that was, somewhat mobilized by this person, right? So, we literally see that being debunked just with that response right there. And people are saying, oh, y'all just mad at Matt Walsh for telling the truth about her past and things of that nature. Nobody's saying that what he said about her is in terms of describing her past is inaccurate. She definitely is known to be a pro-abortion feminist and a self-proclaimed slut. She definitely has a tattoo on her head. But the point is, with her base that don't give a about politics, it's important that we have somebody in that base to say, hey, you know what? I know y'all are followers of me. I want to encourage y'all to think for yourselves. I'm not going to.
What the Republicans are doing now is their version of rock the vote.
Tell y'all how to think or what to think, but think for yourselves. And why y'all thinking for yourselves, let me tell y'all about my experience on, how I was the Democrat and how I got to where I'm at. You choose to do with that information as you will, but be encouraged to go do your own research. I don't see how that's wrong. We shouldn't shoot the messenger. And but Amber Rose, the extended clip came out, the full clip of her speech in full, and I definitely want to check it out. It's a 5-minute clip, so let's go ahead and check it out from top to bottom, and we're also going to see some more responses to the backlash that she's been getting from this. I had an infection. I wasn't even in the center, which is going to be a video that pops up right here at the end of this video.
So he likes to call it TDI. Instead of Trump derangement syndrome, it's Trump derangement infection, because apparently it's infecting the left just as fast as COVID did the entire world. And we rap.
Or, as Trump would say, it's a.
So now that we have the recap of that, man, I'll just read exactly what Joey wrote. This is the full Amber Rose speech last night that has the internet abuzz controversy. I thought it was a perfect encapsulation of so many of our journeys into MAGA, because if you know about my journey, which is
gonna wait 3 fucking hours. Then again, it's not the RNC, it's probably the fucking Right Side Broadcasting Network that started 3 hours early. And they're not recapping, they're just talking, but whatever.
Going to be a video that pops up right here at the end of this video that details how an Uber driver challenged my thoughts and beliefs when I was a Democrat, a hardcore leftist, liberal-minded, zombie myself, who had suffered from TDI. I had an infection. I wasn't even in the syndrome state. It was bad. But that interaction with that Uber driver led me to go do research the same way that Amber Rose said she was going to go look for points to, back up her claims as to why she don't like Donald Trump, and end up finding out, like, you know what? I actually rock with him. Shout out to Malcolm Flex. He made a video pretty much saying he can't believe we are actually having a meltdown over the fact that Amber Rose was allowed to speak at the RNC in support of Donald Trump. Let's hear his response.
Listen, I might not be the best one to carry this message, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now. The fact that conservatives are flipping their shit, losing their minds, having hissy fits over Amber Rose getting to speak at the RNC, yeah, it's not a good look.
Right? Where's the unity?
Let me just tell you, there are plenty of people who are coming over to the side of logic and truth and understanding what's going on in the country. And many of them, here's a secret, come close.
I hope
they're normal people.
That shit was killing me.
They don't look like the same person that's on DC. They don't wear the suits. They don't wear everything nicely just slicked, greased, oiled with the lapel pins and all that.
I gotta disagree. She was definitely greased, slicked, and oiled.
Mm-hmm.
Her forehead, that thing was shining, bro. But we gonna get back to it. My bad.
People get face tattoos. People have seasons in their life where they're not perfect. And guess what? They're still capable of voting. They're still capable of making the right decision. And to turn your nose up at the fact that they actually did something that was a little bit brilliant, which is to bring someone that does not look like and might not have exemplified the correct values or fit the bill for what you think a conservative should be. The fact that they brought that person up on stage just shows that, hey, even normal people understand what's going on. Even people who were on the other side of the aisle understand what's going on. And you know what? Honestly, it's not a bad move. I'm not going to say it's a perfect move, but hey, at the end of the day, why are you losing your mind? Why are you gatekeeping? This is the main reason why people don't like you guys. Like, get a clue. Come on, let's figure it out, guys, because again, you only got one chance. You can whine over your purity and morals. You can act like, oh, we stuck to our principles. And that's great. That's all well and good. But guess what? The only people that care if you manage to botch this and lose the country because you decided that you want to stick to your morals are going to be the people who are reading that epitaph on your gravestone.
And of course, we have Matt Walsh, who I told you he doubled down since then, since his original tweet. He says, some thoughts on this Amber Rose thing, since it's apparently extremely controversial to say that the Republicans shouldn't give a primetime convention speaking slot to one of the founders of the Slut Walk. First of all, maybe Rose has totally changed and had some kind of conversion experience. There's no evidence of that. That's pretty odd to say. She's saying it herself. Like, how do we so now we gotta get people to prove that they
receipts, Amber.
Okay. Okay, there's no evidence of that. Only that she likes Donald Trump now. There are many examples of conservatives rallying around their new celebrity hero just because the person likes Trump, only to be humiliated and betrayed by that same person shortly after. I don't think anybody looks at her like a hero. I didn't take her as a hero watching this right here. And just because somebody says they support Trump doesn't automatically make me just like a proud supporter of that person. I'm sure as somebody who had my awakening myself the way that I did, once I hear somebody had a similar awakening, sure, I definitely have that happy bias, there, but that's just it. I'm not like, oh, she's the new face of conservatives. I don't think that that's how this works. I think that's pretty extreme. This has happened I'm going back to it. And betrayed by the same person shortly after. This has happened countless times. I've called it ahead of time, and nearly every case has been screamed at by conservatives the way you are screaming at me now. Hopefully this is the first time I'll be wrong about something likely this, but I highly doubt it. Ooh, we got some he definitely confident about this. He feeling himself on this. And everybody is entitled to their opinion. I don't hate Matt Walsh because of his opinion, nothing like that. I think this is a very shit opinion, but yeah, there's just that. Second, even if there has been some kind of conversion, that doesn't mean you take someone who has been a conservative for 42 seconds and turn them into a mouthpiece for your movement. How is somebody coming up there given their experience while also alerting new voters, new potential voters in a particular audience? How is that somehow like making her the mouthpiece for the movement? I don't see how.
My entire family is racially diverse, and I believe the left-wing propaganda that when you go to the store and buy food for your family, you're shocked. When you fill up your gas tank, you're pissed.
Like, now is not the time to be pushing people away from the party, okay? I think now's the time to say, hey, guys, we got a lot of momentum. Trump was almost assassinated, okay? Biden's on his last legs. Literally, we are on a one-way trip to a landslide victory in this election, okay? Let's actually expand the party. Yeah, there's a ton of people who we may not agree with when it comes to social issues. And yes, I understand you don't have to openly endorse any of the things that Amber Rose is about. But ultimately, if she wants to be exposed to what we see as a better lifestyle or a better way of living, then I think that it's smart to allow these people who want to be exposed to it to be exposed to it. And hopefully you can change their behavior and their outlook on life. And I guess that's the best you can hope for, right? But apparently, again, Matt Walsh doesn't see it that way. He actually believes that Amber Rose is irrelevant when it comes to her ability to mobilize voters. But that is not what the Democrats and the mainstream liberal media and the black liberals think, okay? Because they're currently panicking, okay? They're panicking over Amber Rose's speech at the RNC, and we're going to start with Joyless Reed, who apparently is questioning Amber Rose's blackness, even though Joy Reid is not a black woman in the sense that she is the descendant of slaves. She's actually the child of immigrants, so she really is more African than anything. But, you know, Joy Reid feels the need to speak on Amber Rose's blackness and her race, and to say that, you know, she's not an authentic black voice to be listened to. This is essentially Joy Reid's argument.
A member of Congress who was a Republican came out immediately and blamed the incident on DEI and said that the fact that there were women and black people in the Secret Service is the reason this happened. That is a member of Congress who went out on the TV and said to the world that DEI was the cause of an assassination attempt. This is where the Republican Party is. So it's ironic that they were able to recruit this young woman who, you know, and she's a racially ambiguous. I don't want to say she's black because she has said she's not. So I don't want to say this woman who is of whatever race that she has claimed. She said she's not black. But they've brought somebody whose whole career is based in black culture. She used to be on a show on BET. That's the reason most people know who she is. She dated one of the most prominent African-American rappers in the business in the history of hip hop. So her whole culture came from black culture, even though she says she's not a black person herself. And the fact that she is now the person they're using to try to recruit young people of color and to say that this is the person who is the endorser of Donald Trump who you should trust, when she won't even claim the culture that brought her to the table. I'm dubious that this will work. I don't know anyone who takes their political cues from Amber Rose, but just in case you do, you might want to duplicate doing your own research because she might not have done it thoroughly.
Yeah, so you have the black liberals in the media doing their job, which is to essentially discredit any person that is a so-called person of color or any so-called minority as a real minority if they don't agree with Democrats. Now, again, if Amber Rose gave this speech at the DNC endorsing Joe Biden and all of the racist things that Joe Biden has said in the past, right? Do you think that Joy Reid would be giving this commentary, right? Do you think that she would be questioning Amber Rose's blackness, right? And whether or not her opinions are opinions that we should listen to? Now, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I don't necessarily believe that Amber Rose is a credible person to listen to, regardless of what her opinion is. However, ultimately in the day, she is not appealing to people like me, right? She's appealing to these women who are more feminist in nature, who really care about women's rights. And she's telling them that, listen, no. The Democrats are actually the party that's against women's rights. Republicans are pro women's rights. Actual women's rights, okay? We're not talking about the women's rights that Democrats say are women's rights, which is to kill babies. No, that's not a right, right? That's not a right at all. But when you talk about protecting women from biological men and women's spaces and actually knowing what a woman is and respecting what a woman is and valuing a woman for what she is, yeah, that is what conservatives and Republicans are all about, right? In fact, I think conservatives love women more than anybody else, right? Because we seem to value women for their God-given talent and abilities more than the left does, because at the very least, we know what a woman is, okay? And we love them so much that we don't want them to be replaced in their own spaces, okay? So anyways, the left, okay, they're extremely pissed off, right? They're extremely panicked about Amber Rose giving this speech because they know that although people like me,
because she didn't do it for
and maybe
them,
a lot of you guys are not the target audience for Amber Rose, there are a lot of people who are not paying attention to politics who are exposed to somebody like Amber Rose and will listen to her because she has a ton of followers. And again, this is why they're getting all of their so-called minorities in the media to attack her, even the LGBTQ black man. And he's attacking Amber Rose as well, too.
It strikes me when she says the left told me to hate Trump, but when you cut through the
In this case, it's not clear if, because they have federal resources available, whether they will help out with this investigation, or whether because it was an outside agency that was already involved in this fatal incident, Milwaukee police might be the ones who end up investigating this.
Very good point there, Nick. As we bring our viewers up to speed on this police shooting here in Milwaukee, if we could, in our booth, could we pull up the statement from the Fraternal Order of Police out of Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, for our viewers? I'm going to read this for our viewers again. The members of the Columbus Division of Police were involved in an officer-involved shooting at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Oh, no. The statement goes on to say that no officers were injured in this shooting, and at least according to the FOP, the condition of the person is currently unknown, but we've had multiple people tell us that the person those Columbus police officers shot is dead. I did reach out to directly the mayor's office in Columbus, Ohio, to see if the mayor there had any comment on this. A spokesperson for the Columbus mayor saying, Derek, we are not making any statements at this point. We've been told to defer to Milwaukee police right now. We will let you know if that changes.
Here on scene to give you a different vantage point, but we did just get a news release from the Fraternal Order of Police, the FOP, in Columbus, Ohio. So this would be pertaining to the officer from Columbus, Ohio, who shot this person. I'm just going to read it, Ben. So the FOP has recently been made aware that members of the Columbus Division of Police were involved in this officer-involved shooting. They say that the president has been in contact with the Wisconsin state president, the FOP president that is, that no officers have been injured. However, the condition of the suspect is currently unknown. Officers, along with multiple officers from other jurisdictions, are all there for the RNC. So it does appear this Columbus, Ohio officer, not surprisingly, was here for some part of the secure presence for the RNC, and that's why they were here in the first place.
And we do know this is a deadly incident because the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner has been called to the scene, and they don't get called to a scene unless there has been a death on the scene. So that we do know that they've been called as we're seeing this large police presence. Stephanie Quirk, I want to go back to you because obviously we saw this giant tactical team show up. Have we seen any officers come or leave since that big team arrived? And I'm hearing some shouting going on.
Yeah, actually, we're moving right now.
Turn the camera.
We are moving because we're hearing some shouting.
Switch to the camera.
Right here, you can see this is a different vantage point we have here. Officers are telling us to move out of the roadway. As you mentioned, we did see that line of officers after they put their tactical gear on enter the area of King Park here. And the whole area here near 17th and Bleed is blocked off. As you can see, more vehicles appear to be entering, unmarked vehicles are entering the area here. From our vantage point, we can't see specifically what those officers who just appeared to put on the tactical gear did entering King Park, but I do see some kind of walking the area investigating. More people are showing up here to the scene. We're hearing, as you can see, probably hear.
Give you a breather here. The number of unmarked vehicles been arriving on scene, pretty unusual for a Milwaukee police investigation. So obviously, there may be some other outside agencies involved here. Not surprising considering how many law enforcement officers and agencies are here for the RNC.
Right, exactly. And people who would show up in unmarked vehicles could be members of the Milwaukee Police Department. They do arrive sometimes in unmarked squads, members of the Secret Service, although they usually do have those big black SUVs. And you could tell, Steph, those are Milwaukee police officers that are patrolling, that are in charge of that road right there, right?
I think she was actually going to try to talk to some people to get some sound.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, obviously things are changing by the minute, but just to give you some more you can skip to the left there, that several apartment complexes and homes on that side of King Park. You've got the MLK Community Center, the rugby field. There's a church just outside of this park. So undoubtedly, several people had to have been in close proximity to exactly where this happened. We do know that this is a Milwaukee police investigation. The sheriff's office has confirmed to us that they are not involved in this, so that this incident may have happened just outside of the park.
That's a smart one out there.
And we're seeing such a large police perimeter, you know, and we're seeing, look, you can see some of the neighbors, I believe, who are inside the perimeter. And there's a child right there too. Yeah, you can see what happens when sometimes a crime happens right out of your street. Suddenly you're just stuck inside your home because they're not going to let you leave. I don't know if these people can leave the back, but obviously they're wondering what just happened on their block as well. But look how large the police perimeter here is. If we zoom in, I don't even think we can see the other side. You see all these vehicles that are in there. So yeah, on the right side's the park. On the left side, we're seeing duplexes and homes here in Milwaukee, as this would be on the near north side. Once again, not that far away from downtown, but a totally different world as far as, I mean, there are no security perimeters here for the RNC. Life would go on as normal, which if you've talked to anyone who lives downtown, that is not what the case is down there with all the different changes they've dealt with. So it is a lot easier to get around these parts of town than the other part, but we're seeing what happens if there is a big incident. Suddenly you have all these law enforcement officers that the Milwaukee Police Department, or we know the Secret Service is involved, can call on to come control this scene. Manpower is not an issue here today, and now here we go. We're seeing one of these units leave.
Tactical vans.
And you can see the police vehicle behind it. Ben, there haven't been that many marked Milwaukee police cars. Often those vans, the investigative vans, will show up in these scenes for equipment. They have all sorts of things inside those vans. What you're not seeing on camera, though, several of our reporters on scene are talking with witnesses who may have heard or seen something. We've been with you live here on Fox 6 since about 2:02 this afternoon after we first learned that a Columbus, Ohio police officer shot a person in the area of 14th and Vliet. We know several city blocks there are closed surrounding King Park as authorities continue this investigation.
And I just want to go back to the point of what I saw yesterday with my own eyes with Columbus officers as I was down in the 3rd Ward, which again, during the day, very eerie during the day because not a lot of people were in the 3rd Ward. That may have changed at night when all the delegates got out. But I went into the public market and there was a group of officers from Columbus in town. It kind of seemed like they were enjoying the public market as they were kind of on patrol, but they were getting a snack and stuff. But the point I'm trying to make here with them were Milwaukee police officers. So some of these out-of-town officers presumably would have a local or several local officers with them, so they know the lay of the land and know a little bit about the dynamics of some of the neighborhoods they may be driving through or even working in. So now we don't know, again, exactly where this took place in this scene. As we just learned, it probably did not take place. Oh, and then we're seeing that looks like a sheriff's office. Yeah, and they would be in charge of patrolling the park. But again, I do not believe this scene happened in the park.
Right. And you make a good point, though. I mean, we don't know exactly what the Ohio officer may have been doing because the number of different patrols that the city has coordinated for the RNC is just incredible. There are officers stationed obviously within the perimeter, outside the perimeter. You saw them at the public market. The security footprint of this convention and making sure that within the perimeter is safe has been such a focus. But this is honestly, Ben, it's a stark contrast. It's a reminder that these investigations happen frequently in the city of Milwaukee, and that's when the agencies have to act. And we see here numerous agencies showing up to figure out exactly what happened.
Okay, and stick around just for a minute here, because Durante Matthews, when we're going to get some answers here in a second, because he talked to some of the witnesses, and he's just powering up his equipment now with his photojournalist, Mike Pasuik. So we're going to hear from witnesses in just a moment that our reporters are gathering that information on the scene right now. Stephanie Quirk is also down there and has been witnessing all these officers kind of continually show up. We saw the tactical team show up, immediately put on their gear very quickly, and then they kind of stood down. It makes me think that this is not currently an active scene because they didn't rush off somewhere.
The urgency level does seem to be lowering rather than raising the temperature at any rate. We do have Stephanie Quirk on scene. She arrived there just before 2 o'clock. I'm not sure if we have her at the moment. I think we do. Steph, anything that you can tell us we are not seeing on camera about this death investigation?
Well, I mean, just as you mentioned, in the past 47 minutes that we've been here on air with you as this all unfolds. The number of unmarked vehicles coming in and out of the investigation here near 17th and Vliet, or 14th and Vliet, which is just 3 blocks down. More than I can even kind of describe that we've seen. Obviously, Milwaukee police seems to be here. Those vehicles are marked, but the many unmarked vehicles coming in and out of here. Earlier, we did see a group of Milwaukee police officers appear to be gearing up or putting tactical gear on, walking in a line towards King Park, which is just where near 17th and Vliet, where much of the activity is. Once they kind of walked in that area, we did not see them because that area is blocked off, so we can't access it right now. So it's unclear where in King Park they went, or what areas they're investigating at this time. But just more police activity I've seen here at this scene than I have in many.
And we can see some of those witnesses or potentially people who have showed up to the scene. Obviously, this is a volatile moment. We know that someone was struck by gunfire from an officer from Columbus, Ohio. We can only imagine the emotions.
Shut the fuck up and let the black lady talk.
Going into this from those who may have been impacted by this shooting. We are still also working to learn more from Milwaukee police. We have not heard from them. We have reached out from them, or to them rather, but sometimes it can take some time before we hear an official statement or any official information from Milwaukee police in a situation like this.
I can't emphasize enough how different the law enforcement world is right now in the city of Milwaukee. I mean, they've got command posts set up. They're kind of watching every square inch. Obviously, the focus is on the area around the RNC with all the delegates and the former president in town. But again, all these resources could be used throughout the city as something happens. And the level of communication probably has never been greater, maybe in the state of Wisconsin history, for what's going on. They prepared for these events for a very long time.
We are just hearing some new information from our producers confirming that crews inside and outside Fiserv Forum are not noticing uptick in security presence, anything different than what has already been in place since Sunday evening. So that would indicate that this is more of an isolated incident, but obviously that the officer involved here, Columbus, Ohio, was here for the RNC, for some part of the security plan in place.
And you mentioned this, Suzanne, I'm not sure the chain of command. If an out-of-town officer shoots someone and kills someone, as is the reporting been so far, then who is the investigating agency? Because the Department of Justice handles a lot of the fatal officer-involved shootings throughout the state, not necessarily in the city. So I would assume that would have all been worked out a long time ago in the planning for the RNC with all these out-of-town officers. But that is a question we're trying to get. We're also trying to get Durante Matthews up, who just spoke with some witnesses. Do we have him yet?
All officer-involved shootings go to that bureau.
Okay, we're still working on his signal, so we'll keep bringing up. We're going to hear from him in a minute because he did talk to some witnesses, so we're hopefully going to get some more information soon. And you're seeing some people show up. You just heard that woman say, I'm an aunt of the victim. So we're going to vet that a little bit before we throw it on air. But you're seeing people show up who may believe they know someone who was involved in what happened on this street here this afternoon.
In the past 25 minutes or so, we have seen dozens of law enforcement officers kind of taking off their tactical equipment and some of them adding more back on, but not rushing around in some urgent manner. Many of them were kind of under the shade of a tree there within the park as they were taking off their gear and working to, it appeared to be, get settled to make moves somewhere. We saw a line of officers, it looked like leaving King Park, but from this vantage point, it's hard to tell exactly if they're still on scene, but usually, Ben, in these circumstances, when an officer-involved shooting has taken place, we would expect to hear from the Milwaukee police chief. This is taking place in the city of Milwaukee, but given the nature of what's happened,
and now we're seeing, looks like children are leaving that area. So as you can imagine, they may be coming. Actually, I would not be surprised if they're coming from the community center. Can we get a wider shot there, guys? Because King Park's right there. There's a community center, and they've got summer programming that happens all summer long.
Oh, so they just got let out.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening here. So as this incident probably unfolded, they're within the crime scene tape. They're going to keep those people secure and in place until they know everyone is safe. Hey, Stephanie Quirk, have you seen any parents show up now that we're seeing all these kids kind of walk out of this scene?
So sorry. Yeah, parents show up now that there's kids walking out of this scene. We have seen multiple community members be showing up near this area of 17th and Fleet. I believe there's parents as these kids, you can see.
Right, you can see them walking out. Could look like camp counselors or people from the community center.
Yeah.
So yeah, look at all the kids who are inside this crime scene perimeter. And look, there's another now Milwaukee Police Squad. I believe. I mean, rare incidents where we have to literally look at every squad and just make sure it's a Milwaukee Police Squad because there's so many out-of-town law enforcement.
And that really goes for across the city right now, Ben. I mean, if you're in the 3rd Ward, you are looking at an officer from Ohio, from Illinois, from various states surrounding us. Just through driving downtown a couple days ago, there was an emergency communications sort of vehicle, U.S. government SUVs on every block outside of the secure perimeter. So there are so many parts of this security plan in place, which may play into why officers were in this area of 14th and Vliet. This is outside of the perimeter. This is a mile and a half from Fiserv Forum where the RNC events are taking place. So why was that Columbus, Ohio officer there in the first place?
Right.
I think that will be a question that will be asked of police.
And we just got some new information, and we're going to hear from Milwaukee Police, we believe, soon, because they've just set up a media staging area.
Okay.
And so this is common on crime scenes. They will set up an area that they know that the media is set up, so when the police chief or another high-ranking law enforcement official with some information they want to confirm, they know where to find the media. So they're just telling us right now where to meet, so we're sending a crew over there. And if we needed any more really details or facts to show us that this scene has really calmed down, they would not have let all those children just walk out of the community center if they thought there was any danger still left. So despite the fact, really within the last 20, 30 minutes, we saw that tactical team run in and suit up. Obviously, the temperature has lowered so much so that they're now letting a bunch of kids who are presumably in that community center get out of there and reunite with their parents. I'm not sure if they got on that school bus that we just saw. That was a school bus that
we did just get some new information from the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner confirming now one adult male has died in connection to this scene at 14th and Vliet. So we know that one adult male has died. The Ohio officer from Columbus shot this person we now know is a man, an adult male, and we know that this autopsy will take place tomorrow in Milwaukee County. This is new information just into our newsroom that is shutting down the area of the city's north side, 14th and Vliet, stretching about to 17th and Vliet. You can only imagine, Ben, what these children are experiencing, what's going through their minds. Obviously, seeing this large police.
Nothing to do with the RNC. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to come back in about 2 hours when the first RNC thing's actually supposed to start. RSBN, you can kiss my ass for starting way too early. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, I think I have another notification. I don't fucking know. But I'll see you in a couple hours. So